I have never thought in the next 5 years what I'll do or next 10 years. The first full marathon was the International Marathon New York in 2013. When I did that, I struggled with the training program too much too soon, injuries, but I still went ahead and finished the race. But after the race, then I said maybe I could have done better. If you do two things, one is you have to identify what are the non-essential things that work and non-work. If you eliminate those non-essentials, then you have that much more time to focus on what is your priority within the organization, but at a larger level. And you know about the Bajaj Allianz Pune Marathon initiative, and that is one of the initiatives in that direction. We believe that as an organization, the best life insurance you can have is by leading a quality, healthy life. It is not that the competition will figure out what differently you're doing. It is just that you're doing it repeatedly, and that gives you competitive advantage. This smaller and bigger details incorporating will help us improve the performance.
This is Vikas, and you are listening to Run with Fitpage. And today I am speaking with Mr. Chandramohan Mehra, also known as CM. He is the Executive President and Chief Marketing Officer of Bajaj Allianz Life Insurance Company. He's a great runner, he's a great corporate leader, and all of us have a lot to learn from him. I think you should spend some time learning about his running journey before you continue to listen to this entire conversation. Why I say this is because he has been as resilient, as enduring, and a long distance runner for as long a time as you would like for any athlete to be. He has been an equally successful corporate leader, and we should learn a thing or two from his career of running and of professional journey as well. Let's welcome CM to the show and learn about his world major marathon journey, about various parallels that he draws and implements in his corporate life, what makes him a great leader, a great team member, and a great runner. CM, welcome to Run with Fitpage. As you know, it's our weekly show, and it's been a long time that we've been planning to do this together. Finally, we have the chance of being here together, so welcome.
Thanks. I'm looking forward to having an exciting conversation with you, Vikas.
The very first question comes when I think of you is why do you run so much?
Because I just want to keep it simple. I don't have much gyan to offer why I run. I run because I love running.
Right.
Yeah, I run because I can continue to run, and I continue to run longer and better run. It just happens that it has a positive impact on various other things in my life and career which matter most to me.
But were you runner from the start since your childhood or not?
I was extremely a skinny and a shy child. To a certain extent, I continued to do that. It just at some phase in my life, I thought gymming will help me overcome this. As part of gymming, there was a bit of warm up or cool down, which was a bit of running on treadmill. That grew into fascination of running outdoors. Coupled with that, the thrill of running races.
Yeah.
So once I registered for the Standard Chartered Half Marathon way back in 2006, the running bug sort of bit me.
That was 2006.
That's right.
A long time ago when running was not as sexy maybe in India, but a bunch of us were still running then.
Yeah.
So you started with the half marathon, right? Directly, was it a half marathon?
Directly, it was a half marathon. I don't recall if there are other categories, but the categories were not exciting enough to embark on that sort of an adventure.
Starting with gymming, also to contextualize further, you started by saying you were very skinny, and so you thought gym will help you build some muscles and you become muscular. I wanted to further understand, as you picked up gymming and as you started to warm up and cool down, maybe you grew interest in running. What I have seen that either people love running or they love to work out in the gym, strength training, etc. It seems you've been able to do both, but over a period of time, of course, you graduated into being an endurance athlete. How did that continue? Did you continue to have a balance in running as well as working out in the gyms, or you moved to more running?
There have been series of failures and setback which helped me fine-tune the process. And what I mean by that, there have been DNFs, there have been a huge gap between my desired finish time and what I ended during my earlier. I continue to do that. So with every DNF and failure, it has taught me something. So what can I do slightly better to avoid? How to identify those gaps and work on them? If required, seek help from specialists. And it's been a sort of continuous fine tuning of my training regiment, which has helped me incorporate this warm up, cool down sort of SOPs into my running. And it's not just unidimensional, only running. As most runners do understand, a lot of your running training is non-training, which is things like mobility, strength, nutrition, recovery, so on and so forth. And I've learned it through only series of failures and DNFs.
Yeah. We talked about that you started first in the gym, moved on to running, started with a half marathon in 2006, and now have completed several marathons, including world major marathons. Running a half marathon is one thing, but running a marathon and running it really well, and then continue to run that for many years, completing all six world major marathons, is another feat. And you have improved in almost every race, is what I have seen, because I've seen your timing from very close quarters. How did that journey transpire? I know you told a few of the things where you have learned from your DNFs and everything else, but how did you build the discipline, the regimen to get on to the journey of WM, and how did you complete those?
Honestly, when I started running, I didn't even know if something like world major exists.
Okay.
Yeah. Even when I started running for half marathon, I never knew someday I'll be able to think of full marathon and then work on the finish times. The good part about racing and running for races is it keeps your running intensity intact. So all runners go through this. You're running a race and at some point you say, why the hell am I doing it? And you finish the race and you say, man, I could have done better. Okay. And then you go back and reflect. Can I shave off a few minutes? And what is that I need to do? So that keeps the entire intensity sustainable for a longer period of time. And I think that has worked for me. I have never thought in the next 5 years what I will do or next 10 years. So I do the race and I think, well, the next race, what is that I can do to improve my finish time? Everybody gets sort of greedy with their finish times.
Yeah.
And that has kept me going. First full marathon was the International Marathon in New York in 2013. When I did that, I struggled with the training program too much too soon, injuries, but I still went ahead and finished the race. But after the race, then I said maybe I could have done better. That's how it started. 2017 and we did 2019. So in a span of those 24 months, I had done 4 majors. Even then, I had not realized there is something called the World Circuits. So after New York 2013, then the next one of the World Major Marathon Series was in 2018. First was Berlin, then London, Chicago, Boston in the span of 2 years. It was 2019. The 5th was done. I was not looking even to complete the world majors. I didn't even know then. It just after 2019, I said, oh, hey, if I do this one, there's something called world majors, I can do it. So ironical that 2020 we had registered for Tokyo and then the pandemic broke. So it took almost 4 years to finish that one marathon race to complete the 6th one. So it's been interesting, fascinating journey. Because of the pandemic, the races were not happening and there were travel restrictions. So we managed to do the 6th one in 2023.
Wow, must have been quite a wait, and only the last one to go and now waiting. Do you remember your finish time in 2013 at the New York City Marathon?
4 hour 44 minutes and 39 seconds.
Oh my goodness.
The last major Tokyo was 3 hour 21 minutes and 9 seconds.
So that's like a 1 hour 23 minutes improvement.
I never imagined. These things happen with bit of consistencies and continuous refinements. It happens with everybody. After a point, the magic starts unfolding.
No, it is, and it's an understatement, honestly, if you say it's a bit of consistency. Both of us are runners, and we have work responsibilities. It's not as easy to be able to be consistent, not for training alone. Like what you said, a lot of times it's about non-training. After the training, there is so much that it requires, so much it takes for you to be able to recover well. You have to prioritize your life so differently. You have to look at whether you go for an outing late evening on Friday or go for the smaller run on Saturday and then long run on Sunday. All of these are considered sacrifices as well, and I'm sure you will be able to shed some light on how did you prioritize that you were able to continue to be consistent, you were able to recover from the training, come back and do it better while being extremely successful at work.
24 hours is a adequate enough time to balance things. If you do 2 things, one is you have to identify what are the non-essential things at work and non-work. If you eliminate those non-essentials, then you have that much more time to focus on what is your priority. Of course, work takes precedence for sure. You're talking about hour and a half or 2 hours at the max to have longevity to whatever you do. And you do this only so that you can work better. So fundamentally it's clear. You're doing this so that your mainstream work gets better. You're much more energized, fresh, collaborating and spreading this energy within your work ecosystem. Then second thing is some practical things which focus on things like some planning to remove friction. What I mean by this, small details like first thing I've been doing after I reach home after work is pack my running bag.
Okay.
So the details of my running socks, shoes, attire, my post-workout nutrition, I just ensure as soon as I reach home, in the next 15 to 18 minutes, my bag is packed.
For next day.
For the next day morning. Yeah. So once I wake up, my only friction is to just step out with the bag. So these are the small practical details I advocate. Then second thing is whenever I'm traveling, I ensure that a couple of things are definitely there in my bags, things like running shoes, attire, and my protein shaker. And these are some detailings in terms of planning and removing friction so that you're able to pursue this non-work thing. It balances, not just balances, it further enhances your work quality.
Right. And what I'm hearing is that it's not that you have to be obsessed with it to be able to do it. It's just a bit of planning and being at it for a long term, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it then organically it embeds into your lifestyle. It's not that you're sacrificing much. You're just identifying what is important to you, just prioritizing that.
Yeah. I guess how I put it as well is that it just, you integrate it in your life. It's part of your life. It's not optional. Right? I feel working out, running is not optional. It should just be as a priority as everything else.
Totally.
And one of the things that you said is reducing or removing friction is so important, because if you don't do that in the morning, our mind plays so many games. As you wake up, hey, now you're not finding my shorts. Okay, can I go and sleep? You will get late. Can I go and sleep? You're not finding your watch and things like those. If you remove or reduce these dependencies and barriers, in the morning, the only, like what you said, is only barrier you have to cross over is get up and get out of the door.
Totally.
Right.
You're carrying some sort of a baggage from the previous day work. You're prone to checking again your WhatsApp, email if there is something you need to attend immediately. But by doing this, the only focus is stepping out.
Yeah.
The more you hang in there, you're more prone to falling back on something which may further create a friction.
Yeah, no, I agree. And our mind finds ways to keep us busy, right?
Totally.
As soon as you give it some time, for sure, there will be so many things that you can keep yourself busy with, for sure, right? The other thing that you said is that running helps you be effective at work. Running helps you, give you more energy. What I have seen, though, people say, hey, if I work out in the morning, I'm tired. Is it that people are tired because possibly they are not nutritionally sufficient, or maybe something else is happening? How do you see running is really helping you? Some of the examples how that helps you at workplace will be of great value.
The point about getting fatigued, of course, you follow a certain process in terms of nutrition pre, during and post workout, not just and through the day. Simple things like hydration, the right nutrition will just keep you energized. It definitely has a positive impact on workplace at a collective level, at an individual level. At a collective level, you find people collaborating. There's a bit of camaraderie, team bonding, so on and so forth. If teams were to engage into running or any fitness regime. So at an individual level, it has an impact, of course, on a physical and mental well-being. And hence, as an organization, we have been promoting, enabling sort of fitness culture, not within the organization, but at a larger level. And you know about the Bajaj Allianz Pune Marathon initiative. And that is one of the initiatives in that direction. We believe that as an organization, the best life insurance you can have is by leading a quality, healthy life.
Do you think it gives you a competitive advantage as well? Not that you have to look at it as a leader, but when we are growing up, as we start in our career, I remember when I was an analyst 10, 15 years ago, and when there'll be a discussion and people would ask me, hey, Vikas runs marathon, I would see that their approach towards me will change a bit. They'll get curious, they would want to know me a little more, and that worked like an icebreaker as well, and that in many ways helped me get a few things done at a personal level when I was working with other colleagues, etc. Do you see that something similar is from your experience as well?
No, I wouldn't say it is the running credentials that gives you competitive advantage, but the training principles, what you learn from that gives you several advantages. Example, and as we all know, it is the consistency that makes you a better runner. And same principle applies at workplace. So whatever you do individually or collectively as an organization repeatedly, you tend to do better. Eventually leads to competitive advantage for the brand, for the organization, for the team. You become a better company. It is not that the competition will figure out what differently you're doing. It is just that you're doing it repeatedly, and that gives you competitive advantage.
Very well put. And I think, yeah, when you are in it for the long term, you are at it for long enough time consistently, that is your competitive advantage.
So it is the principles of running that give you competitive advantage. And there's so many other things that you can draw from the training principles of running, not just the running alone. For example, long distance running, as they say, you can go far if you run together. Same thing is about work. Individually, you'll not be able to make much impact, but if you have to work it out together, you can have a substantial impact. Now, contrary to the popular perception, running is a solo sport. It is not. We all know that. It is about the running community. It is about the fellow participants in the race. Not just that, there are people behind the scenes, the nutritionist or the coaches. Okay, this all they form a team for your performance on the race day. Similarly, at the organization, there are so many different elements that come together, for the organization of the team to make a desirable impact.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense, and it's very inclusive, very participative at the helm of it, like running a sport. And this is one of the sport where everyone who participates gets a medal, right? Everybody is a winner. And I think very similar is the concept that's applicable at workplace as well, that everybody who's in the team who is participating in a particular project or work, all of them are heroes, all of them are winners, and that's what makes the leaders, makes you successful.
Absolutely, and because one is the multiple stakeholders, and when there is also series of bigger and the smaller details, and in the nuances of running, small things of what gel to take at which kilometer mark. Not just these are the finer nuances of the race day, but also the pre-race days, as you spoke about. It's not just running, with so many details about recovery, nutrition, strength, mobility. Similarly, at a workplace, there are so many small things to continuously identify how will that add value to a larger thing. So it's a combination of smaller and big things. So for example, what I'm trying to say, it's not just unidimensional, so it's not like a fantastic strategy will help you differentiation over competition. It's combination of execution, people, culture, tech, so on and so forth. So many things, smaller and larger details that come into play. That's what running teaches you, right? If you want to, over a longer period of time, to keep making incremental enhancements to or improving a performance in terms of finish times. There are so many small details that go into, and you identify, incorporate that. Same thing at work. This is what I tell my teams. This smaller and bigger details, incorporating will help us improve the performance.
As we talk through, I can totally visualize these are two parallels that are drawn, a running or endurance training parallel to that of workplace, and you can draw analogies from each other. And it just makes so much sense, right? Whether it is training, whether it is getting ready for a race. If we compare that with that of, for example, a big presentation or a D-Day, at workplace, how do you prepare for both is so similar.
Oh yes. So bulk of the training, if you're sorted, the race day is going to be easy. Same at workplace, you have a challenging quarter or a challenging launch by the competition or some external conditions, or you have an opportunity. If you have trained, if you've been in that zone, you will be able to defend that challenge or seize the opportunity, because you're always in a race mode. The team is in a mode.
It is for sure. Coming back to running and your journey as a runner, of all the world majors or even ultras that you have done, which is your best race that you performed? And why I'm asking this, there is a reason. Because I want to understand, how did you plan for that race differently during your training versus others that all came together to be the best race that you are going to explain why it would be?
I'll always remember Berlin as my turning point. The race in Berlin, the first time I broke into sub 4. It is not the finish time, but it was things that were happening before the race during the training phase. Some adverse things at the personal side, people close to me facing health issues, things at work. So that phase was sort of challenging. And one of the ways of dealing with those adverse situation was staying true to running. At least it was sort of escape for me. Those 90 minutes of training provided escape to me. It was a sort of healer to me. Little did I realize that it will finally impact my running performance. I just to go and run the race, and I was surprised to see, because before then I'd never done sub 4. So it helped me. I'll always remember that for many reasons, not just the finish time, but about how I dealt and how running helped me deal with those situations. While those were temporary phases, and everybody goes through those phases in their life. And it helped me. It helped me deal with the phase. Not only helped me deal with the phase, by just saying true, it just helped me improve my performance.
When it comes to running, a bunch of our listeners always want to make sense of training journeys of marathon runners. Why I say this is because a bunch of them progress to longer distances fairly quickly, and that might be causing into certain injuries and everything else. Would you mind sharing your training journey, how it has been for you in the last couple of decades now? You have been coaching under certain coaches, you have been running independently as well. You go and perform in different races. From a 4:44:39 to 3:21 is a fantastic achievement. Not only that, comrades as well, you have done fairly well, around 10 hours. How did you go about this? How do you apply some of the training principles in your training, and how does your training generally look like?
As I touched upon this earlier, learned it hard way. It is not unidimensional. So it's not only about running. I've learned over the period of years, the non-running components become such a significant component that adds to the performance and longevity of running. And what I mean by this is incorporating strength specifically and mobility is so important. That's one. Two is bit of planning. The way I approach a year is I define combination of half, full, and now ultra marathons. I have visibility to that, and I tweak my training program in a manner to incorporate training for this 3 races. This allows me to keep my pace intact and build for endurance. At a base level, I continue to clock in 50-60 kilometers a week. But of course, I change it depending on what is the full or ultra marathon. I increase the mileage. So it moves from 60 to 80 to 100, depending on what training phase I'm in. So broadly, it is 4 to 5 days of running. Some days I combine it with strength. And some of the evenings I combine with some 20-25 minutes of mobility. Broadly, this is a broad structure of my training. Of course, there are work days when I'm not able to comply to this, but that's fine. Then I plan and make it up in some way or the other. But nothing, I leave it, even if I'm able to do 80-85% of this, I'm happy. So I don't stress much about it. But as long as there is a holistic for this, so it's not that I'll hate to go into a week which is only running and I've not added the other strength or mobility to it.
What I'm understanding that at a base level, you're training for about 5 hours, 6 hours a week. And as the races approach, depending on the race distance or the result you want to achieve, it may go up to 10 hours per week, which still is not a lot of training in terms of hours. When people think of for them to be fit or to be running well, they don't need to commit to like a high 2-digit number of hours, etc. But rather it's a consistent effort over a period of time. Now, within these training blocks, strength training is one component, mobility that you talked about. How do you incorporate your strength training in your running? Is it on your easy days? Is it on your long run days or on your hard workout days? How do you do it?
So some training blocks I have started slotting only strengths. So for example, Wednesdays and Fridays, at times I just do only strength.
Okay.
Or at times when I'm pursuing a high mileage wake, the easy running days, I immediately follow it up with strength. And that's how I incorporate strength.
Also, just a little bit of more detail, if that is fine. That is, in a week, suppose you're running for 5 days. Are you doing all easy runs? Are you doing all hard workouts? Are you doing all long runs? What is generic?
2 easy runs, 2 hard, which is a combination of tempo, speed, and Sunday is a long run, which is sort of again of a mix.
Mid
So it's
effort.
not really easy. Yeah, mid effort, you would say.
You have another runner at home, Sharon herself. She's a fantastic runner, and you, both of you, as power couple, have been running for a long time together as well. Does that help that both of you are runners in your running journeys as well?
Sharon started the full marathon journey slightly earlier than me.
Okay.
She was sort of a nudge in me starting the full marathon journey. And it's inspiring to see her lead a hectic work life, manage the household chores, and still continue to be passionate about the running and finish times. So it has a rub off on me as well. And I would advocate, if you're running alone, ensure longevity to your running. Should get your spouse inducted to the training. It's not nice that Saturday you want to sleep early for your next day Sunday long run, and your spouse wants to go out and party.
Yeah.
So it has, the dynamics are positive if both run together.
I know, like when, as I think of it, in Sharon's case, she has a full day work, she has house chores to manage, a dog, and the entire family, and then being able to be the regular in training is just fantastic. And I go the sentiments that it helps superlatively if both of you are running. Who's a better runner?
She is a better runner. I hate sleeping on couch. घर भी वापस जाना है.
I guess that answer before you answered, that's the simplest answer to give as well. And मुझे भी phone नहीं आएगा. Awesome. What are you training for next?
I have Tata Mumbai, and then I have to qualify for the Comrades, so I'll do NDM, and then Comrades downhill this time.
Oh, nice. Nice.
But it's 21, 42, and then Ultra.
As we move towards finishing the conversation, what are some of the advices you will give to other runners and runners as well as the ones who are having, no, I will not say high pressure job, but a corporate job that is demanding, where you have your work responsibilities that are equally important to you? How should they manage both of these together?
I've been a big admirer of Nike advertising. I like to borrow their lines, okay? One specifically for the non-runners and one for runners. For the non-runners, that line is, yesterday you said tomorrow. What I'm saying is, get moving, get running, or whatever fitness regime you like to pursue, get started. Otherwise, it will always be yesterday you said tomorrow will start. So avoid procrastination. Pack your bag today so that tomorrow you're ready for running. For runners, there is no finishing line. Yeah, there is no finishing line. So you need to keep running. You need to be consistent. You need to figure out a way of balancing work, life, and your relationship. And one of the ways to do is identifying what are the non-essential elements in your life. Just eliminate that. It's holistic. Running is holistic. And if you're able to incorporate all this, you'll have a longevity to running.
Very wise words. And one of the things I say when people say they're very busy and they cannot run or work out, I tell them, please show me your screen time. And,
Yeah.
and I have seen more often than not, people who can't find time to work out have more than 6 hours of daily screen time, and it's just crazy. So I think what you said is removing or reducing non-essentials are very important. CM, this has been such a fantastic conversation. Crisp, makes sense, to the point, and I think all of us can learn a thing or two from this conversation. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, and I enjoyed chatting with you thoroughly. Thanks, Vikas.